Hello goldfish, squids and other lovely sea creatures, I'm Octopus and today we are going to take a look at the USS Iowa, the Tier 9 American battleship. But first thing first guys, as always, if you want to support me in this adventure on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel, leave a comment and a thumbs up if you want, and share the video with your friends because this is greatly helping. So, USS Iowa, the largest battleship built from the US in history so far, at least. This battleship is very interesting because has a lot of good features, in my opinion, that will lead you to the Montana, the Tier 10 one. And in many aspects, it is even better. Starting from the concealment, 12.7 kilometers of maximum concealment. It is amazing at Tier 9. Consider that the Montana has 14 kilometers of maximum concealment. So, and you have similar firepower because you have three triple turrets of 106s instead of 4 of the Montana. So you basically have the same setup, the same turret setup of the North Carolina, but the shells are different because these AP are slightly faster than the North Carolina ones. Speed is decent, 34.6 knots with speed flag, when fully reserved, of course. On the other hand, the turning circle radius is atrociously bad at 920 meters in classic US battleships playstyle, let's say. Your main reload on your guns is 30 seconds by default, if you're not using the reload mode on the last upgrade slot, as I'm doing here. We are going to talk about the actual build later. Your range when fully reserved is 23.3 kilometers, which is more than enough to be effective actually. And your turret reverse speed is 45 seconds by default. You can cut this down by taking expert marksman as captain skill, and also you can also take the turret reverse upgrade in the 3rd slot, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this value can go to 34 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. We are going to check this import. So Iowa is a fast battleship. Okay, so as we just said, the speed is very good. The shells are slow in classic US manner, but you are an excellent medium to long range fighter, because the dispersion of those shells can be quite good, because American battleships, the high tiers ones, so tier 9 and 10, have the opportunity to actually slot a special upgrade in the last slot. As you can see here, we are shooting this Des Moines at 19.3 kilometers away from us, because he's reversing, he's caught in this awkward position, and we are, with our amazing dispersion, we can absolutely delete him, and we score our first kill and the first blood. So as I was saying, the dispersion of those shells, it can be extremely good if you slot the dispersion upgrade in the last slot. Even if you want, you can even go for better DPM, because it is always nice to have better reload on your main guns, but I find this solution to be very good on Iowa. I like to play US battleships as gigantic flanking large cruisers, let's say, because one of the downsides of the US battleships is the relatively low caliber of the guns, because nowadays 406s are not that scary anymore, because there are plenty of battleships that have larger calibers. Having 406s means that you cannot overmatch 30 millimeters of armor, in the sense that if a cruiser angles towards you, they can actually bounce your shells. But if they give you broadside, like this Henry is doing, then your penetration is quite good. And also you have these shell arcs that can, I mean, they are they do like a plunging fire in this sense. So absolutely, your shells are exceptionally good when you are dealing with cruisers, basically, but also with battleships. But the main role of the US battleships is basically killing cruisers, especially. As you can see, I'm not running fire prevention, not because it is not recommended, but because this is a, let's say, a potato captain. It is only a 10-point captain, so the first 4-point skill, the first 4-point captain skill that I chose was concealment expert. I'm gonna talk about the captain build at the end of the video as always, but this specific match we are facing some tier 10s, some tier 9s, and some tier 8s. So we are not top tier, so we have to play somewhat safe. Also, the enemy carrier, as always, carriers are gonna mess up with all the concealment based ships, and Iowa is not different in this sense, because you have a good concealment, but if there is a carrier in the game, you are gonna have a hard time making use of your concealment. But you know, carriers provide a more active gameplay according to Wargaming, even if I heavily disagree with this. Mogami got Citadel. He has 27 millimeters of armor, so we can straight up overmatch his armor and deal a quite significant damage to him. As I said, we are exceptionally good at dealing against cruisers, not that good against battleships, because Iowa has a waterline Citadel, but it is not that hard to actually Citadel an Iowa, especially from medium to long range. So you have to angle your ship, but having 32 millimeters of nose, we don't have any icebreaker like, I don't know, Kremlin. So if you're facing Musashi, Yamato, Shikishima, they can straight up overmatch your nose and Citadel you from the front. So if you are facing those kind of battleships, always angle. As you can see, we have access to a classic US battleships repair party, which is slightly better than the average, in the sense that you can heal a little bit more than other battleships. In Iowa, you will end up a lot of times you are gonna end up in some nose-in situations. So you will end up facing targets using only 2 of your 3 turrets. This is fine because you are using 66% of your total firepower, which is decent, let's say. It is not like getting stuck nose-in with a Montana, for example, in which you are using only 50% of your firepower. Here we are also going for some blind fire with that on the Smolensk in the smoke, and we are even lucky to score 1 hit, and it is actually a Citadel. So absolutely, our dispersion with this upgrade, as you can see, it is absolutely not to be underestimated, especially from medium to long range. I mean, from close range, it is not gonna you're not gonna see too much of a difference, but from medium to long range, you can quite feel the difference when you are slotting that upgrade or another one, a reload upgrade, for instance. So as you can see in this match, the enemy team completely left A flank. They almost abandoned the B flank, the B cap as well, and they are all lemon training towards C. So we know that this is most likely a comfortable win for us, because when the enemy team does this, it means that they are open to actually being flanked. And if to provide this, we have to actually hold this position. As you can see, 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, and we already scored the Confederate achievement, because we are damaging a lot of different targets for quite a good amount of HP. So this is not going to be a monstrous game in Iowa, but it will show you how powerful the Iowa can be to actually lock a flank, let's say block a flank, because it is not that easy to just take down an Iowa if played properly. So if you can make use of your actual tankiness that you have, your resilience to AP if angled, so you have to understand how to use the Iowa. You don't sail full broadside to people, as always. Don't do that. You don't want to play super aggressive in Iowa, but not too much passive. So you excel at medium range. Iowa is an excellent medium range fighter, in my opinion, because as we said already, the dispersion is awesome. your armor is decent if you're angled, and I mean in you're not facing Musashi, Shikishima, and Yamato. This is the carrier kill, by the way. 22k volley, so very good. And yeah, Iowa is an amazing chip. I hear a lot of people that are kind of struggling playing Iowa because they feel like it is just an oversized NC, but facing more often tier 10s and 9s than North Carolina. But I heavily disagree with this, because Iowa, it's a completely different ship. I mean, the turret setup is almost the same, but the fact that you have that speed and the faster shells, they are still slow, but they are faster. Look at that salvo on the Henry IV. Another battleship would have probably overpenned the Henry, but with our plunging fire and the relatively low caliber, we are perfect to deal with cruisers. So this was a 4 citadel volley on the Henry that was sailing full broadside to us, and a devastating strike. Now this is only this Massachusetts left, and we are gonna try to deal with it. Once we kill the Massachusetts, the game will be over already, and it is gonna be roughly a 12 minutes game. So here we lose one of our turrets, but don't worry, we are gonna be able to actually deal with this Massachusetts more than fine. And I don't know, we are gonna take a look at the results of this battle to actually be how effective we were in this battle in this little amount of time. So these are the final results of the battle. 172k damage, 20 planes, 4 kills, 9 citadels actually, Confederate devastating strike, dreadnought, and first blood. 2.5k basic experience, almost 800 more basic experience than the second guy in our team. As we said, this game was roughly in 11.20 seconds game, and we racked up that amount of damage and that amount of, let's say, carry. Potential damage not that impressive, 1.5 millions roughly, so you can tank far more than this, absolutely. Of course, all our damage came from our main guns, and we received 103k damage, which is remarkable. But as I said, that was a rather short game, but quite an effective one. Credit earnings. I was running some modifiers, so as always, silver ships don't, high tier silver ships don't give you a super good amount of credits, but if you play good, you can absolutely gain some credits and some experience even if you are not running the premium account. So this is our Iowa. Let's start with the equipment and the modules. So first thing I would go for, it is the B-hull, because as you can see, the B-hull gives you a lot of survivability and some AA. Let me go here. Okay. And survivability and maneuverability. The B-hull gives you some AA, I think. Whatever. B-hull first. Then I would go for I don't know, probably propulsion to have some more horsepower, because as you can see, it gives you 4.5 knots, which is quite a good amount of speed. So absolutely propulsion second, and finally I don't know, more range, even if honestly you can even go for the sea hull and then to the Montana directly. I mean, if you really want, you can unlock the gunfire control system, the advanced one, but honestly I don't think it is so mandatory. So if you really want to go for the Montana, you can absolutely skip this and go for the tier 10 instead. Consumables, you get to choose between fighter and sporting aircraft. Absolutely, fighter is useless because Iowa AA is already decent, so using the fighter, it is useless. I mean, on the vast majority of ships nowadays, because fighter consumable is very much a meme nowadays. So sporting aircraft is absolutely the best solution, because you're gonna need it to actually lob islands. You want to make use of your plunging fire, so absolutely recommended. Also, if it happens to you to actually blind fire in the smoke, it is absolutely a good tool to have. Upgrades. Here I go for the skull upgrade, the enhanced damage control party modification 1. If you don't have this, or if you prefer to preserve your turrets, go for main armament modification 1, because as you just saw in the replay, your turrets can get knocked out kind of easily because they are not that tanky if you receive some heavy AP from enemy battleships. Then I go for more tankiness. Here you don't get to choose the dispersion upgrade that usually other battleships can mount, because we have this in this slot. So I go for main battery traverse speed plus 15%. Absolutely, you can go for even more range, but honestly you don't actually need that. So absolutely don't go for this. You absolutely are not gonna benefit from it. Then I go for steering gears modification 1. One feature, let's say, of the American battleships is the terrible rudder shift time as well. So without this, it would be 17.1 seconds rudder shift time, which is atrociously bad. So to make up for this a little bit, I go for steering gears modification 1. If you don't want this, you can go for more tankiness, absolutely. But I find this, since Iowa is a fast battleship, you want to have some kind of maneuverability if you are maneuvering. So I find this to fit my playstyle. If it doesn't fit your playstyle, go for more tankiness. Here, concealment, absolutely nothing here to say. And finally, I go for alternatively plotting room modification 2 to have this amazing 11% dispersion boost buff. If you don't feel like you need a better dispersion on your guns by default, you can absolutely go for better DPM. It is also a viable solution. Absolutely, this is up to you basically. Captain, as I said, this was a potato captain, only 10-point captain, so very standard build. Priority target. I chose expert marksman, but honestly, the best choice would be adrenaline rush. I mean, having expert marksman and the turret traverse upgrade gives you a 34 seconds turret traverse, which is absolutely amazing. It is almost Kremlin level, default Kremlin level of turret traverse, so it is quite good. But honestly, the first 2 points should be adrenaline rush. Then I go for superintendent and concealment expert. Here also you have the opportunity to go for fire prevention first, so this is up to you and how you actually want to play the Iowa. Anyway, so these are the first 10 points. Then you go 14 points with fire prevention. Under 3 points, you can go for basic sources of survivability, especially if you don't take these, if you're not running, what is it? This upgrade here, you're running something else, you are gonna benefit from basic source of survivability. If you don't want this, you go for, as I said, adrenaline rush with 2 points. Then you go for jack of all trades and expert loader. If you use basic of survivability, then you're left with only 2 points and you can go for adrenaline rush. Or if you chose adrenaline rush first, you can go for jack of all trades or expert marksman. This is entirely up to you. Then signals, nothing special to say here. As always, standard battleship build. Reduction in fire duration, better heal, more speed, faster reload of consumables, better AA. As we said, Iowa AA is very good. I mean, it is going to protect you from tier 8 carriers, as you just saw in the you are going to have some kind of protection from tier 8 carriers, as you just saw in the previous replay. But don't even think about stopping a tier 10 CV from actually dropping you. She's going to lose some planes, yes, but nothing really special. I don't know. On top of that, you can add a reduction in floodings if you have these flags. Even ramming flag might be viable because, you know, you end up in nosing situation and sometimes you are gonna find that dude that actually wants to ram you because reasons. So actually running the ramming flag might be a valid option. A quick look at the armor scheme of the Iowa. As I said, we have a waterline citadel, as you can see. Is not that hard. I mean, it's not that easy to hit, but it is not that hard either. So absolutely, if you are facing American battleships in Iowa, keep an eye on their plunging fire, especially from medium to long range, because they can absolutely devastate you, and even other battleships, honestly. Also, as we said, we have 32 millimeters of nose, and behind that nose there is a gigantic citadel behind it. So if you're facing nose in Musashi, Yamato and Shikishima, and they know how to aim, they're gonna straight up overmatch your nose and punch into your citadel that is quite flat, and it is quite easy to hit. So absolutely avoid facing those kind of ships in the Iowa. You have 38 millimeters of deck, so you are somewhat resilient to HE spam, especially light cruisers, but as always, you're gonna have to deal with fires and yada yada. So absolutely, Iowa is tanky when angled towards the AP, as we said, but do not expect some incredible tankiness like Soviet battleships. You are not that tanky. So that said, that was my Iowa commentary, guys. A quite short one, I know, but you know, this is the replay that I had. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a thumbs up and a comment down below if you have any question. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and if you want to support me, I will leave you in the description of the video my links to Discord and Twitch where I stream. And once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.